So then, Tottenham Hotspur await Manchester United in the first game of the Premier League weekend, the Saturday lunchtime early kickoff. Tottenham versus Manchester United, and it has the potential to really ruin your weekend, doesn't it? I tend to associate Man United appearing in this kickoff time slot over the past few years. I have no idea. I don't have numbers to back this up. It's just a feeling on how I felt over the last few years with United being relatively crap that usually my weekend gets ruined out of kickoff times like this when Manchester United playing them. But we'll see how they get on this weekend. I got to be honest, you know me. It's never too high, never too low. It's always looking through the positive lens. It's always trying to see the bright side of things. But at the moment, just going into this game, I've just got that feeling in my stomach that this isn't going to go well, because I feel as though this is a really big test for Manchester United to have, given all of the context around playing against Tottenham. Back in the early 2000s, it was the lads, it's Tottenham. From the line from Sir Alex Ferguson in the changing room, I think he was in the 3-0, where Tottenham were winning 3-0. United came back to win 5-3, wasn't it? I think that's the story. But it is, over the past few years, United versus Spurs has been absolutely miserable. And we all know what happened towards the end of last season, or at the end of last season. I don't really want to talk about it too much because it was one of the most miserable days, I think, in recent history for Manchester United fans. Losing 1-0 to a terrible Tottenham team in the Europa League final just wasn't the remedy after a season where United were absolutely crap in the league as well. 15th from last season versus 17th from last season. Tottenham came out on top and they played in the Champions League in midweek. They beat Copenhagen heavily. Mickey van der Ven, who once ran the length of the Old Trafford pitch to get an assist, I think, in a 3-0 win for Spurs over United, did it again, but scored this time around. And it just seems as though, while Tottenham have been rubbish at home for about a year now, and rubbish at home this season as well, it's funny that they just go and score a barrel full of goals against Copenhagen to really ramp up that confidence ahead of the visit of Manchester United, of course. But let's see how it goes. I think this game is going to be one where I'm going to learn a lot about Manchester United, and one where I'm going to learn a lot about how this team is progressing and maturing. I'm going to talk about that on this episode of the podcast today. This is the Promised Land Podcast. Please subscribe to it on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and all of those places. 5-star reviews would be welcome. Subscriptions would be welcome. Notifications as well. I never say this, but if you want to never miss an episode or get notified when an episode is coming in, make sure you hit notifications on so you can pick up the show when it comes out. I'd really appreciate that. Like the videos, 5-star reviews, leave comments as well for me on all of those places, and on social at _. Scott Saunders as well is where you can find me. Get in touch and let me know how you're feeling ahead of this one, because I've got to be honest, I've hinted at it on the podcast over the past few days that I just don't have the greatest feeling about how this game is going to go. And I've been looking before I started recording about why I might feel that way. And I found out that Man United haven't beaten Tottenham since the 19th of October, 2022. That is absolutely wild. And that's 6 clashes now, 6 meetings, 1 in the League Cup, 1 in the Europa League final, obviously, and the last 2 seasons in the Premier League, United have not beaten Tottenham. There's been, out of 6 games, 2 draws, well, even 7 games. That's 7 games, actually. 7 games, 2 draws and 5 defeats. The last time United beat Tottenham was in that Erik ten Hag game, where I think United absolutely smothered them. And I think Fred scored, if I remember rightly. It was at Old Trafford. They won 2-0. And we all thought, well, this is what Erik ten Hag ball is supposed to be. This is the sign that things are going to get better. And ever since then, we know which direction this has gone. And it's a tough one. And like growing up, and you think of like Tottenham and what Tottenham are to a lot of people, and how soft they have been, and how Man United have dominated them, like generally in terms of big wins in the past, or like United's position in the league versus what Tottenham are, serial underachievers, serial losers, if you want to say that. To not beat them for the last 7 occasions is absolutely wild to me. And I just feel as though Tottenham being awful at the moment, and I think they've scored so far this season, they have scored 5 goals at home since the opening day of the season. So they won 3-0 on the opening day at home against Burnley. They've only scored 5 home goals since then, also conceding 5. They've been beaten by Aston Villa, Chelsea, and Bournemouth as well. And that Bournemouth game, which finished 1-0, the statistics were absolutely so heavily swayed in favour of Bournemouth that it looked really terrible from Tottenham's side. They've also drawn with Wolves at home as well, and Wolves have been terrible this year, just sacked their manager too. So, look, this is all signs here with United, even though they're level on points in the league. They both got identical records, 5 wins, 2 draws, 3 defeats so far this season out of 10 matches. 17 points each. Tottenham have a much better goal difference because they haven't conceded as many goals as United have. But it doesn't really paint the whole story, I guess. The big concern around Tottenham at the moment is their form at home and their creativity at home. I'm throwing away the Copenhagen game from midweek here because that was an outlier and an anomaly from what we've seen or what Spurs fans have seen over the past year or so. It's been terrible for them. But this, to me, the way I associate the kind of this feeling around United at the moment, as much as I come across as really positive and I feel as though United are moving in the right direction generally, and I did a show earlier this week, yesterday I think, on Jason Wilcox and his interview. Go check that out already if you haven't. Really, really interesting from him. I do feel as though United are moving in the right direction and are going to get things right eventually. But in terms of the isolation of this game, that Tottenham record at home is terrible. Manchester United's recent form, unbeaten in 4, is pretty good. And you should really feel as though United should be confident going into this game. And you should really feel as though, well, this is a game where United have to go and turn up there and go and win, because Tottenham have their own problems. Their supporters are really not convinced at all, or just not liking the fact that Thomas Frank is starting to play, or is playing, a Bentancur, Polinia midfield double pivot. It doesn't really scream creativity out of it, but it does scream a bit of tenacity, and United will have to deal with that. But what I'm thinking is, if Tottenham are having trouble scoring goals at home, and like I watched the game with Chelsea last weekend as well. They were terrible, absolutely terrible. Chelsea gave them nothing, or they created absolutely nothing. The whole conversation all week has been about how bad Tottenham have been at home, and now Manchester United are rocking up there. I don't get the feeling at the moment out of these players in this group that they will be able to comfortably take that narrative on their shoulders and deliver and put the pain back on Tottenham and reverse that seven matches without beating Tottenham. That's why I'm starting to feel really uneasy about this game, because that's the recent record. We know as well, a lot of the players that are currently there went into the Europa League final and played against them. We'll probably get the Bruno Casemiro midfield pairing again as well. Much criticized, much changes needed in there, obviously, but they have been better over the past few weeks. Not so much last weekend for me, but they have been better over the past few weeks. And it'll be interesting to see how this group of players goes into this mentally as well, because losing that game, I think, was incredibly, incredibly damaging to the football club on the whole. As much as there are positives that you can take out of it and you need to harness with there being fewer matches to play in Europe, and you can have more time to prepare in the Premier League and that kind of thing, United just really need to back up what Ruben Amorim has been saying in his pre-match press conference and saying that they are a better team who are more confident now. And I need to see, for me, as much as I do agree with that, this game in its isolation at Tottenham makes me feel as though I'm going to get a little bit disappointed again, because all of the stars seem to be lining up in favor of United, really. And that's what makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. All the stars seem to be lining up in favor of United. Tottenham have their problems scoring goals at home, and United are really on something of an upturn. As much as they're on the same points, it does feel as though I've been in situations like this before with Manchester United, and I've been confident going into matches and hoping that United are able to deliver and put the pain on a team that aren't in really good form, only to be disappointed. And look, I don't want to come across as super negative, but this is just how I feel. I know that there are definitely people out there, I've seen it on my social media timeline as well, that are confident that United can go to Tottenham and win this game. But maybe it's because I have a lot of like Tottenham supporting friends. I'm not sure. I always used to associate United with, just pushing Tottenham aside and going back to that record that United have against Spurs. They've been sharing wins and losses around, but you look at from January 2019, win, win, draw, loss, win, 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 win. And that is what I what I was used to. But in there is the 6-1 at Old Trafford as well, which was really, really out of the ordinary and really, really unsettling. But the recent record has been absolutely terrible. So what I want to see this weekend out of Manchester United is, and the reason why I'm concerned, I guess, is because I don't feel as though this team has really proven to me yet. As much as they went to Liverpool a few weeks ago and really got up for it and ended up winning the game, putting in a proper performance there against the Premier League champions who just beat Real Madrid just a couple of days ago as well. So they can do it. They can do it. But that is a Liverpool. That's Liverpool. That is a big game. Every single United fan, every single United player knows what that game means to United fans. And while they've flopped in that game for a long time, outside of the last 3 years now, it is, United haven't been beaten at Anfield in 3 years, which is crazy to say. This Tottenham game it's not quite a solid rivalry, is it? But Tottenham have managed to get the advantage over United for really way too long. And that Europa League final as well, I think would have, in Tottenham's minds, really busted a few previous conceptions of what this rivalry was and popped the bubble, I suppose, of that. I know Tottenham fans who have this real idea of Manchester United just winning everything from the time in the 90s. I'm of that age group as well. The time in the 90s, the time in the 2000s, and that's what I grew up on as well. And Tottenham were always the team that just never delivered, and that reputation, that kind of idea of Manchester United seemed to have been destroyed over the last few years in those Tottenham fans' minds. And like I say, I do have a lot of Tottenham supporting friends, so it's I can never really escape it. But look, this United team have proven a lot over the last few weeks. I definitely feel as though they're going in the right direction. I definitely feel as though, as Ruben Amorim has said in his pre-match press conference, they are a better team. They are more confident, and he expects a different game as well. I need to see that proven, really. This is a game which doesn't have that major rivalry buzz, but it is a game against a team that have a great stadium, that have players who can damage United as well and have damaged United before. And it's not that kind of game where you just feel as though, right, they're going to be absolutely up for this. I'm not entirely sure of what United were going to get on the day. And as much as I feel like United are capable of winning, I just do still have that unease in my... Everything seems to be lined up as much as in United's favour of, Tottenham are going to turn up. And of course they managed to do it against Manchester United because it's a big game for them still as well. Look, this is... it's going to be an interesting watch. It definitely is. But what I want to see out of United is sticking to the plan, going and addressing all the wrongs of that Europa League final was terrible. Absolutely disgraceful. Terrible. The performance there just was not, after the season that we had watched and that we had through our hands and through our fingers, the season that we'd watched and had to tolerate with the expectation or hope that going into that final, United always deliver on the big stage, really. Especially against Tottenham, who never win. To not have the win coming through on that day really, really ticked off a lot of fans. It was a very, very dark day for a lot of people, me included as well. And now United really need to start making amends for that. And winning this weekend would be an absolutely fantastic start. So, look, it's going to be interesting to see. United are obviously very different in terms of the team and the attack that they have now. Bryan Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha, Benjamin Sesko as well. Ruben Amorim, speaking in his pre-match press conference, was talking about how he expects a different game as well. And you remember how the goal came about when Andre Onana, who is not at the club anymore, this was one of those games where he really should have done better with the shot that came in. It was quite a lucky deflection for Brennan Johnson. He ended up scoring. Onana couldn't keep it out. And United didn't have enough in their locker to be able to get back into the game. They couldn't score a goal. Tottenham compromised all of their previous club identity and traditions and just went backs to the wall, tried to stop United from getting back into that game, and they successfully did it as well. And for me, like, that is what I would want to see out of my team in a final two. But it's just, they spent a real long time of reversing what I think Manchester United and Tottenham are over the last few years. I want to see that reversed back to how it should actually be. I suppose that is what I'm saying. So how do United go about winning this game then? I think it is a big challenge because Tottenham under Thomas Frank have been quite reactive, and that's the kind of coach that he is, really. He's not going to, I don't think you're going to get a Tottenham really that are going to come out and try and absolutely dominate possession and dominate the game in a sense, and that might work in United's favour. If anything, the problem that United have tended to have has been with teams that are going to sit in, and I don't know whether Tottenham will do that. Really, they do have an element of having to be taking control of this match because they have a big stadium with expectant fans who like have grown up on a tradition of attacking football. They are going to want that. So maybe they do have to give that to a degree, but he is quite a reactive coach. And what I would like to see is, it kind of goes against the grain of what I think United are good at with how I think United need to go and win this game. And that's why I think it's going to be a big statement for me if they do manage to go and win this one. Like, I want to see United come out there and press themselves on the game, make an impression on it. Chelsea did it last week. You have your example to follow there. They kept Tottenham to an absolute minimum in an attacking sense. They barely threatened the goal. Chelsea scored and never looked out of control in that game at all. And that's something that I would like to see United do. They do have, obviously, more potency in attack now, but they do have to be wary of some threats that Tottenham do have. And Mohamed Kudus, if he plays, Brennan Johnson, the kind of pace that those players have, they can threaten United in behind, and Kudus is really good on the ball, dribbling wise as well. They have really, though, the thing that stands out for me is set piece threats that they have. Like Mickey van der Ven scored a couple at Everton a couple of weeks ago, and you've got to stop him charging up the pitch like he did the other day as well. Christian Romero is back as well, so they should have their top central defensive pairing back, and it is a good defensive pairing too. But United really have to be on it, taking care of those set piece threats, because it just looks as though Tottenham will earmark that part of the game to hinge on United's weaknesses. Interesting one as well. I think Andreas Georgsson, who used to work at Manchester United, like literally last season, I think, before Ruben Amorim came in, I think he left as part of that reshuffle that Amorim did as part of his coaching staff. He's now at Tottenham. I think he's in charge of set pieces. So he probably knows a lot of these United players and knows the weaknesses that they have. Will probably be studying them pretty strongly. And I think that's likely going to be an area of the game where Tottenham will really target. So United really have to be on it with that. Sene Lammens really has to be dominant personality in the box that I think we kind of can start to expect from him now. He's going to need to show that in this game. And look, if you stop Tottenham from set pieces, there's not a lot to suggest at the moment from league form that there is all that much else to worry about, really. And that makes me feel really uncomfortable saying that. Obviously, this is still a team that is in the infancy of its evolution with Thomas Frank in charge, and Thomas Frank is a really good coach. But I think this is a game, really, where I would like to see United get on the ball, get on top of it, press Tottenham back a bit, and actually put the pressure on. Because in a stadium like that, when you've got a supporter base that expect attacking football, that expect progressive passes and expect progression out of their team, if you can go in and switch that atmosphere around in the first 10 minutes or so and not give Tottenham much of a sniff and make them all feel as though, oh, this is the Chelsea game from last week all over again, then that's probably the best way to go for me. That's what I would like to see. Maybe Frank will switch things up. I've spent a lot of time talking about Tottenham in this, actually. It's supposed to be a Manchester United preview, so forgive me for that. But look, on United, I would like to see Ruben Amorim go for this with I always understand his defensive selections at times, especially at wing-back. I understand the balance that he's going for. But I think we all saw Diogo Dalot last week, and we've seen the story about him being related to Diogo Dalot over the past few days as well. I would like to see Amorim go back to Patrick Dorgu in this situation. I think that would be really one of the only changes I would make from this, unless you go about doing things a different way and pushing Bruno a little bit further forward as well. Like, I would like to see Tottenham pin back and United do a good job of that. So maybe getting Bruno closer to goal in this instance would be quite good. We know that the midfield pairing of Bruno and Casemiro didn't work in the Europa League final as well. I'm just spitballing a little bit about what I'd like to see. But I would like to see United really make an imprint on this game and try and control it and try and get the crowd turned around, because you have seen it over the last few weeks. They expect good football. If you can stop them and get on top, you can work that crowd to your advantage. United have felt over the past few years, the Old Trafford crowd, and being unable to deliver in front of it, it can work against you sometimes if you're a big club with a big expectant fan base at home. It can work against you. United need to be savvy enough to be able to do that. In terms of the team that I think I would pick, that I think he might pick as well, again, it doesn't seem like there'll be too many changes, really. We seem to have stumbled upon a relatively first choice 11 with maybe one or two players here and there who switch in and out depending on the opposition and what it is. So Lamans obviously has to start in goal. There's no question about that at the moment. Lenny Yoro, I would like to see. Matthias de Ligt and Luke Shaw, again, left centre-back. I think that's probably the way to go. Luke Shaw, I think when he came back from his injury last time, he was in the Europa League final, wasn't it? And I think he just was really, really off the pace. We are seeing a much better Luke Shaw now. I would like to see him continue that good run of form. And it'll be interesting to see when Lisandro Martinez gets back into training, gets back into the first team as well. I would hope that after the international break, we're going to be having that conversation. But for now, I think Luke Shaw would start at left centre-back. Maybe Luke Shaw shifts out to left wing-back when Martinez is back up and running. I don't know. We'll see. But in terms of the midfield, I would expect that Ahmad continues at wing-back. I would like to see, as I just said, Patrick Dorgu to start on the other side as well, because you need that physicality to get up and down. But you also need that extra attacking threat that Diogo Dalot doesn't really offer, and that ability to cross the ball as well. Dorgu can do that, even if he needs to work on it a little bit. And then the midfield pairing, Casemiro is an absolute must. He has to play in there. And I think he will start Bruno Fernandes in midfield, probably. But in terms of how I think this game, how I would like this game to go, I could really see a case of possibly starting Kobbie Mainoo in this one. He's not getting much of a chance at the moment. I'm sure that's going to be a conversation point coming up over the next few weeks, because he isn't getting starts. He just looks to be beneath Bruno Fernandes in that pecking order for central midfield at the moment. But I would like maybe to see that extra bit of quality that Mainoo has on the ball, maybe next to Casemiro, and we can see how that goes. I don't think he will do it, like I say, but I could, in this game and the way I would like United to approach it and impress themselves on the game, I think using Mainoo's ability to carry the ball in there up against what you would think is a Polinia Bentancur double pivot, that extra bit of creativity from Mainoo could be really useful. And you could, if you're trying to like push this team back and get them in, on the edge of their own box or something, to make the crowd uneasy, like I would like United to do, I think in reality, this is probably not going to happen, but that's why I would like to see out United in this one. Maybe getting Bruno closer to goal to feed Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha might be the best way to go. Benjamin Sesko couldn't get all that involved last week. For what it's worth, just to finish off my lineup, I think he will go Casemiro and Bruno plus Bryan Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha and Benjamin Sesko through the middle. That's the front three that they've bought over the summer, so I would anticipate that it continues. But I could really see the merit of bringing Mainoo into this one and pushing Bruno forward and having Sesko as that bench option. If you want to have the ability to retain the ball up there, Sesko's obviously really good at it, but I could see the merits of maybe starting Cunha in that central striker role again, and we'll see how it goes. Like he did at Anfield. And Mason Mount could always lean back to him. He hasn't started for a couple of games now since he had that injury. It's only a bit of a niggle. He was on the bench last week and unused as well. So maybe I could see Mason Mount coming back in, but to me, it doesn't really scream the right game for him. I don't know. Maybe Ruben Amorim has just completely forgotten about playing Bruno Fernandes in that more advanced role for this season, and he is now firmly a central midfielder, and he only goes up into that position later on in matches. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I think there are ways that Ruben Amorim could switch it up this week. I would probably think, though, he's going to stick to tried and becoming more trusted for this game. But let me know in the comment section what you would pick for this game, because I think I would like to see, and this is what makes me uneasy, I would like to see United really get on top in this one and take the chances that they make, because they are a different team to last season. They do have more attacking threat, and they are more proficient in front of goal as well. They don't waste as many chances as they used to. So go in there, impress yourself on the game, and get in front, and then see how the fan base at Tottenham likes it. See how they digest it. That's what I would like to see out of United, and I haven't seen them able to do that really all that much over the past couple of years, and that's what makes me uneasy about it. That's why I kind of think that it's not going to go the way that I hope. But I would love to be. I'll take a draw out of this game. Absolutely no question. I will take a 1-1 or something like that. They're on the same points. I just need to stick in that conversation and go into the international break, not having all that noise back on them about Ruben Amorim's position. I don't know whether that'll be the case if they lose, but you never know, do you? Just don't lose this one, but go in. And if they can come out of this and win, Tottenham are not a great side at home at the moment, but I think the potential jump that this could give them, the potential boost in confidence ahead of a run of games, which for Manchester United now is really quite kind in a sense, like moving up to over the Christmas period. United have a real opportunity here to continue this good run of form and make it really go and stake their claim for the top 5 Champions League places. Tottenham away, Everton at home on a Monday night, Crystal Palace away on the 30th of November as well. That is obviously a difficult game. But again, United can go and make their impression on that game too. West Ham at home, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, Aston Villa away, Newcastle at home, and Wolves at home. That is the run up until the end of the year. And then you've got Leeds, Burnley, up until Manchester City and Arsenal on the 17th and 24th of January, respectively. So that is a lot of games there where United have the quality to get on top. They need to start asserting themselves in matches and start to dominate matches. I've seen a stat that's been floating around about how United don't do as well when they have more possession. That needs to start changing. That'll obviously change, I think, when different midfielders come into this team and different midfielders are signed. There's still links with Elliot Anderson and other players as well. But that's going to be for another day. United, this team as it is, needs to get better at that. And this is a really good opportunity now, this run of games coming up, to firmly establish yourself as contenders to get into the top 5 or top 4. That's what I want to see out of Manchester United. Maybe I'm hoping for a little bit too much here, but I think this Tottenham game will really give me a real sense of if this team has evolved into the team that can do that and can boss matches. We'll see what happens, because I don't expect Tottenham to go in and do that themselves with how they've been playing under Thomas Frank so far. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully United can come out with a win and our weekends aren't ruined from the very first game on a Saturday. Until next time, everyone, see you soon for another Promise Man podcast. I'll be back after this game to talk about it. Maybe if there's anything that pops up. I've seen rumors that Brian Mbeumo has been named the player of the month. Ruben Amorim is in line to potentially win the manager of the month as well. We'll see how that goes. If there's something to talk about there, maybe I'll pop back before this Tottenham game. But if that doesn't happen, I'll be back after it and I'll be reflecting on what I've seen at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Please subscribe to the Promise Land podcast everywhere. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all audio platforms. Please give 5-star reviews and leave a comment. Hit the notification bell as well so you never miss a show. Subscribe on YouTube. Link is in the description. Like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment as well. Follow me on social at @_Scott Saunders. Until next time, come on, United. Let's see if they can do it and end this rotten run against Tottenham. See you soon.